1 d4 and does not press the clock. Nihal says sorry, he was not ready there. Knight f3, pawn to d5, and he pushes his pawn to e3. So Pragg is trying to play something that is without theory there. b3, bishop b7, bishop b2, knight comes out. Pragg also develops his knight. The bishops come out. You can see it's kind of symmetrical, and now it's actually complete symmetry. Queen e2. Will Nihal? No, he breaks the symmetry with rook e8. And it's very subtle, this position, because both players are making normal moves, but now you can see there's a change in structure that has happened. The change is that white now is going to play with these hanging pawns. Knight to f3, and Nihal brings his bishop out. So very interesting play here by Nihal, attacking the rook. The rook moves up, queen moves to e7, and now Pragg can push his pawn to c5. Very, very interesting move. Takes, and play bishop a3 with this pin. He does not play that. He first goes h4. So slightly provocative way of playing this position. And Nihal now takes, pawn takes, and that is what we call the hanging pawns here. But black is very solid. Black has all his pieces nicely positioned. Knight takes, knight goes to d7. So Nihal trying to trade as many pieces as possible and tell Praggnanandhaa that these are weaknesses in your position. Meanwhile, Pragg may have an idea to push his pawn to h5, use his two bishops that are aiming towards the black king, and try to launch a big attack there. A knight comes to g4, attacking the bishop, bishop g7, h5 played, and now h6 could be an idea. And generally this pawn moving to h6 is an irritating pawn there. It is like a piece is embedded in black's camp. So Nihal can of course push the knight away with f5. He can even go queen h4, trying to bring his queen closer into white's territory, but he can also take the pawn. Why not? Nihal says, Pragg, thank you for the free pawn, I'm just taking it. And now where does this knight go? Knight can go to e3, and then the queen can attack the pawn, or you can go knight h2. That's also possible. Knight e5 does look bad, because after knight takes, pawn takes, you've also ruined your structure, apart from the fact that you are pawn down. And that's the reason why Praggnanandhaa here is taking his time to assess different possibilities. Because knight e5, d5, this is a position which you have to tread very carefully, because now the c5 square is an outpost. It can put pressure on e5. The queen can move to g5 or h4. Well, he does play knight e5. Praggnanandhaa is saying to Nihal that I'm okay with that structure, and Nihal now takes his time. This is a critical moment. He has a 1 minute lead on the clock. He also has a good position, and now queen g5. I like this move. But bishop e4 played, takes the bishop, queen takes, and now just rook e d8 could be a very nice move to trade the rooks there. You cannot double on the d file because the d2 square is covered by the queen and the rook. So very, very good move. Could be rook d8, both rooks actually, rook e d8 or rook c d8. Let's see what Nihal does. Nihal plays queen g4 and he offers the trade of queens. An interesting move here by Nihal Sarin, also attacking the d1 rook. So Pragg, if he now trades the rooks, the queens, he will land up in an end game where he would be a pawn down. So he does it, pawn takes, and now plays his rook to the 7th rank and says, I have some compensation. Nihal has a very powerful move here, and the move is rook e to d8. In this way, if he takes the pawn here, this rook would be active, this rook would come in, then go behind here with the bishop looking at the e5 pawn and the king on h2, and with this g4 pawn also taking away a few squares. It could become a very dangerous attack. You can see Nihal Sarin assessing this, making sure that his next move is played correctly, because this is the best move, and he finds it. Wow, what a move by Nihal. And now Praggnanandhaa in big trouble because he must take the pawn. He takes it, and now a check. No, he goes rook c5. Maybe not the best. The best was check, king h2 and rook b1. But okay, rook c5, rook b7 played. And now you can take this pawn. The position looks drawish now. because white will also take the b6 pawn. But Nihal is thinking for a bit. He wants to end this with a win. He has lost quite a few games in this match, but clearly he has played really well. It's just that in the final moments, Pragg has always managed to outwit him. And he would love to change that. But as of now, he's gone below time on the clock. Takes, rook takes b6, and now rook d1 check, king h2, and rook d3. Ooh, he's threatening g3 or rook h5. Both are big threats. So Pragg comes back. Maybe rook b5 was also a move. He comes back. He wants to be safe there. And now, let's see what Nihal Sarin can do here, because the c pawn is a little bit dangerous. I would put my rook here somehow. I feel a little more safe. Maybe a check first and then come back to c5. You know, it feels like that position is much safer than letting this pawn run down the board. But Nihal is right now split. He's split between the objective assessment of the position, which is a draw, and the assessment where he wants to try and win. He goes back, but I think it's now time for Pragg to start pushing his pawn. c5, king f8, c6, rook c7. Maybe somehow he can bring the king in. He goes c5. Oh my goodness, this is looking very dangerous. Actually, it's like this. King f8, c6, rook c7, rook moves in, you go back, c7, king comes up, rook b8, and king is just in time. So that way, you really need to start bringing your king over. Now, or first play rook c7. Nihal has 13 seconds. No, he's getting under big trouble here. He needs to make his move. 8, 7, 6, 5. He goes rook d5, a massive blunder here. I don't know what did he think here. Maybe c6, he thinks there is rook d1 check, take, and then move back. But the problem is after c6, rook d1, you can just play king h2. And this is winning because here I can simply take. He does push c6 and Nihal goes rook c7, rook jumps to b7, and this position is utterly lost here. Nihal goes g3, one final trick. His smile on his face and resigns there. Praggnanandhaa wins the match 7.5, 2.5.